Ryan, how are you doing this afternoon?
This is a wonderful, wonderful warm afternoon here in Northern Virginia.
And dear listener, if you're listening to this, this is our first episode. So we don't have like an intro kind of shtick worked out. It's just, hello, welcome to our world. Um, Ryan, what are we doing here? I can't even remember the name of what we're doing half the time. What are we up to?
We're here just to talk, share, and with our listener what our interests are. A little bit about some vintage computers have kind of really brought us together, and I think is the history of, hey, this went,
Why are we
maybe we should do a podcast.
Yeah, maybe we should do something with this because Ryan and I have known each other very, very, very long time. Ryan, I'm going to put it in like 20 years. Am I close?
At least.
Yeah. So we've known each other a long time. We've done a lot of things, worked together, played games together. We've played, another podcast I do, the High Shelf Gaming Podcast. Ryan's been a guest multiple times over there. High Shelf Collective, which is a twitching streaming thing that we do. Ryan's been on there for some games and things online. So I don't know, about a year or so ago, you started kind of getting more into the retro computers. I got my C64 emulation box here behind me that I picked up, and I was like, oh, this is fun. I hook it up. I play some Commodore things. But then this year, you got a bee in your bonnet to go to an event. And that really started us all downhill in this retro world. What event did you find? Tell everybody about it.
Well, I found something a little close to my house called Vintage Computing Federation East. Vintage Computing Federation is a group of people that they're a nonprofit. Definitely interested in, they're definitely interested in preserving computers through education, outreach, and restoration. They have several events throughout the world.
Oh, yeah.
We found one close to my house. Well, close being relative, I guess. It only took us, 4 hours to get there from here.
Well, I'm in Texas, and let me tell you, we can't go anywhere without it being 4 hours. That's just life, right? It's a big state, so when you said it was 4 hours away, I'm like, oh, that's great. It's right up the street.
Awesome. Then I'm glad you came out. You flew into my neck of the woods, picked you up at the airport, and
road trip.
Off we went.
Oh, yeah. And it was a great road trip, too. It was my first time in a fully electric vehicle for a long ride. And so it was really neat. We spent 4 hours. We had to stop a couple times, juice up the battery, and that kind of jazz. But, dude, it was pretty cool. And of course, VCF was amazing. The people were great. We had no idea what we were getting into. Well, I mean, we parked immediately. We're going in. They have all of our details, and we're badged up, and we're what do you call the wristband up?
Yep. And
we get in there, and everyone is pretty incredible. It was just a lot of really nice personalities.
Yeah, this is from what I can tell, a very small community. I've run across several of them at some other events, and they're great. The stuff that was set up there. I think we started off with went to a Commodore 64 lab. They had like 20 Commodore 64s all set up. A guy was going over some 6502 assembly for Commodore 64. That's how we started our weekend.
And you can go watch all those, right? Those are all online.
Quite a few of them are.
Okay.
There's a YouTube out there. I think we're going to put the link in the show notes. But they're pretty good at actually recording panels, recording different things that happen at their shows, and getting them out to the world to go just watch them, which I think is phenomenal. I think it's a great community outreach thing.
And let me tell you, that panel was packed. I mean, one of the things Ryan and I did, we both brought our computers, and we both emulated in the back row where there was just like some tables, because one, that lets someone else have a computer to work at, right? Like a real red box. What do they call the original 664? I think there's like a bread bin name or something. I don't know. And so we emulated in the back. But yeah, people were like CRTs everywhere and Commodores. It was pretty nuts.
Yeah, it was an awesome way to start off our vintage computing trek, I guess, is for lack of a better term. It was great energy, great start. Learned a little bit, and that's always good.
Yeah.
And met some other people, which is phenomenal. I think we headed on over to the museum after that. They have a museum up there at their site. Yeah.
Dude.
What'd you see, man?
How many pictures did I take? I think I took a picture of like everything. I even sent something to my dad because they had a IBM punch machine. Mm-hmm. And I was like, was this the punch machine you worked on? Because I remember as a little wee high child visiting him at work. And he had like punch cards. He had like a punch card briefcase. So I thought that was really neat. They had everything from like that age. What would that be? 60s? Yeah, they had everything from like the easy. 60s, 50s. Not everything. Yeah, they had things from those time periods. And then as you move around their corner, right, you kind of come in, you see this old school stuff from military operations, from, computer room operations, and you go in like a little horseshoe. And they evolved the time, of course, to where as you get around to the other side of the museum, it is apples, or I should say, apples. I almost said I should say Mac. No, they were apples. And they were apples, and there were Commodores, and there were TIs, and there were Cocos, and all sorts of stuff. And did they make it into 386, 486? I don't remember off the top of my head.
I don't know. I kind of got taken away by the whole Commodore 64 setup that looked reminded me a lot of my childhood bedroom with the Commodore 64, the 80s posters, floppy disks. And once you get the 64 and newer from it, this is a working museum. So you can go in and play with these things. And they had the Commodore 64 set up. You can just play with it. It was phenomenal.
And let's say if you're going to go next year, if you're going, hey, I could get to Wall, New Jersey. They also had a radio museum. So it was pretty busy when we went in because I think you kind of hit both things when you talk to retro people and they go ham radio or things along communications that's old. They kind of dig that too.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of museums on that facility. We only made it to the VCF one and the radio museum one.
I know.
I think there's a model train one. There's a military vehicle one. We saw some old armor parked out behind one of the buildings. It was kind of a hodgepodge of stuff because this Wall, New Jersey is actually an old military base that got converted and then transferred over for, the public to use. And then Info Age is the overarching museum that is in charge of all of these other museums that are on that facility. So that's a really good time. Highly recommend it. It's the first time that I think both of us were actually there. So it was just, absorbing all this
too much
and sucking up. Yeah.
Overload. I got so many photos, man. It was just overload on that. I can't believe we even missed some of the museums, but we were busy the entire time too. We really, there were other panels to check out too. And, along those lines. So that was really neat. We did sit in some of those. The YouTube streamer. Oh man, that was the one for me. I fanboyed out. We should, in the future, folks, we should do an episode on who we like to watch on YouTube and compare notes from Adrian Black, Retro Rich. There's a lot of folks and obviously Ryan will spout off a couple that he likes, right? So I think we should do a future episode of what do we watch and why along those lines and, kind of help disseminate because there's a lot of great creators and those streamer panels were awesome. It was really neat to hear some of the old stories and then some of the new streamers and what their stories were. What other panels did we make it into, or what are your thoughts there?
We got the streaming panel. We did. I know we went to Jerry Ellsworth panel on the. That
was great.
The D64 thing that she was in charge of. That was amazing.
She's kind of inspirational, bro. You know what I mean? When you hear her story, she started off with like, as a kid, I took everything apart. My dad would not want me to, and normally kind of put it together, kind of not. Maybe was the idea, and then somehow that started getting harnessed. What an interesting background. I don't want to give anything away. I want everybody to go watch her story and feel that too. I left that high-fiving. That was really fun. And by the way, all the panelists and the folks that presented, we talked to many of them as we were hanging out. I had this crazy worm drive thing that's like 18 inches, instead of like a 5 1/4 drive. Ryan found this thing at like a ham expo, and I had everybody signing it. I was like, I'm going to collect signatures on this really odd thing, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and the people you're having signing were the streamers and other people that we watch, and I would say probably about half of them were like, "Hey, do you know what's on this thing?" And they're like opening the slider and like, "I wonder if there's data on this. Have you tried to get it off?" And it's really cool. We have not tried to get it off, to the best of my knowledge.
No. And that is something that when I go to maybe my local VCF, I might bring this with me to one of the meetings and see if anybody has a drive that could read this. Do you see what I mean?
I would love to know what's on that. The more that they've mentioned it, the more I didn't really think about it. I thought it was a great signature item to just have.
You talk about getting their attention. You were exactly right. I remember I asked Jerry to sign it, and we were there, and she took it and then immediately started trying to open it and then got it open. And she was like the first one, I think, that found the catch. And so got it open, looking at it. Oh, this looks good. I think you could read this. And I was like, sign it. Just sign it. And then it's like 5 minutes later. A couple minutes later. But it was fun. That was, dude, you found the most unique thing that I could get signatures on. And I'm going to continue that. So as we do more retro things, I will continue to collect and add to the collection of signatures.
Yeah, I think that was great. That was a great time there. Then we started to just go wandering around a little bit. After the museum, I know I might have actually played a little bit of Marble Madness on an Amiga 1000 that they had set up there.
I couldn't get them off the machine.
Yeah, it was great. I love it.
You can play this on your phone.
Well, not only that, I might have an Amiga 1000 downstairs, so I could play it at home. That's hasn't happened yet. But anyway, we're looking around and we saw, different people had panels set up. There was someone there that actually had new stock of old games, these vintage games.
I know exactly where you were going. Okay, now we're at the spot where we're walking around the show. Yeah. So that's what we just walked into. Is they had 3 or 4 rooms full of tables, an interior circle, outside circle normally, and you would walk around looking at what people were exhibiting in their displays. Like this is like a car show for retro people. It takes a lot more power, but everybody had their stuff hooked up. We saw that table, dude. I couldn't believe it. I remember I was like, "How do you have these?" And he goes, "Well, I bought a company that had a bunch of this, and it's all in a warehouse, and I crated up for every show, and I just kind of sounds like he's whittling through the old stock that literally was new, beautiful boxes."
Yeah, it's great. I may have picked up 2 games and a joystick on my way out on Sunday, so that was great. So looking around there, I played a little bit of going to another room. There's people had an Altair 8080 set up.
Yep.
And they have a serial linked over to an original Mac to get to the term server. And they had Colossal Cave running on the Altair 8080 or 8800. And it was great. You could, you're entering your command. Next thing you see is all the lights on front of the Altair lighting up. And 5 seconds later, you see the output of the text coming back onto the little black and white Mac. So that was actually really, really neat.
Yeah.
What else did I find? Oh, the Weather Channel. They had a weather, these old Weather Channel.
Oh my gosh!
In the TV
Who saves that? Someone saved it. Who saves the Weather Channel guide information?
Exactly, in the channel guide stuff. And what I found, interesting as an Amiga guy, gravitated towards it and saw that because I remember growing up, our local cable company had Amigas because I remember being up at because hey, guy and playing computers till 2 a.m.
Yeah,
they had a guru meditation, and if you know anything about Amigas, you know what those are. I'd see them on the TV screen. So the Amiga basically crashed at some point, and nobody was around to reboot it. So that was actually really neat and a big indicator that there were really Amigas just running this thing out there. What's some of the stuff you found, man?
I really enjoyed like the PDP kind of area, that
Mm-hmm.
age, and getting to see that. It was pretty amazing. I have an incredibly hard time trying to pick one because as you were in every room, it was like, oh, look, here's my collection of Apples. Here's my collection of Commodores. Here's my collection of unique Macs that were system made, like, a clear Mac was there. There was just so many incredible projects that people had saved and brought up. Let alone the idea that if y'all go take a look, Usagi was there with the Centurion and showing off that device. So it was really neat to see some of these things like that from YouTube show up in real life and be able to, look at it at the same time. It was really neat. If I had to pick one thing, it was the machine. I don't remember, but they were playing Super Star Trek, and I could not remember the name of that game until we saw it, and it was like, oh my God, we used to play this all the time when I was a kid, like in high school on the Commodore. And so when I saw that, I had such a flashback of nostalgia that really was a moment that I was like, oh, that's awesome. I mean, we used to play it to where the scans would come out on the printer. And so it took two people, someone at the keyboard and someone at the printer. So we made it interactive. We made it a LARP before LARPing was LARPing. Actually, they did have LARPing in the 80s, but you know what I mean. So yeah, that was kind of the thing. I can't tell you all the stuff I looked at. It was just too amazing, dude. And I am very upset because I did miss VCF Southwest, which was here in Dallas with me. I got sick for the general meeting, and then I threw my back out for the actual event. So this year I'm one of three, and it was the one that was completely the furthest away and took way as much time to get to. But I enjoyed the experience immensely.
Oh, it was a great time out there. I had a wonderful thing, and I know there was a whole bunch of people had like next stations set up.
Oh, that's right.
Sun boxes. There's actually even a guy in the corner that I think it was Amiga on the Lake, or he's fixing Amigas. He brought his soldering station parts, and they're like bringing stuff in, and they're just trying to diagnose and fix some Amigas. It was really cool, really friendly guy. And that was in that room. Oh, there was the couple that had the whole bunch of MIDI stuff set up too.
Oh yeah.
They play the MIDI song,
the retro equipment to make a song, and they sent it away with you on a disc.
Yeah, that was fantastic. So there was a lot of really neat things coming there or being there, and so that was our first exposure. I was definitely an overload. Cool. So what are some of the neat takeaways from there for you?
Dude, the consignment room was almost as much fun as the museum and the exhibits. I mean, walking around there looking at everything was kind of nuts. And let me tell you, if you want to come there and shop, you better be thinking about the first day because it cleared out a lot after the first day. But I really enjoyed going through the consignment area. By the way they did it, Ryan, keep me honest. Everybody put their equipment in for consignment. It just all got on shelves. They had price tags that were easily scannable by the folks doing the checkout. And I believe every price was slightly elevated as monies from the sale also went to support VCF, and then money went back to the original person. Did I remember that right? Is that how it worked, or did I just make that up in my head?
That sounds about right. I mean, the pricing, it seemed better than eBay pricing for sure, which is phenomenal, but I think it was a little bit more than what you might be able to find in a private sale because you now have a target audience.
Yeah.
But yeah, they all had barcodes on it. It was great. Yeah.
And elevated means instead of 125, maybe you pay 130 or 135. I don't think they were like, super elevated, but I think there was the beautiful idea that monies from this do go back to the VCF too.
Yeah, which is great. I know they had a little bar tag. I learned instead of trying to protect my thing, trying to buy it, you can just take, if it's a bigger machine, which we'll get to in a second, you can actually pull the sticker off And if there's not a sticker on the device, they will not sell it.
That's why I saw some things without stickers. I didn't know that.
I learned that as I was trying to buy the thing and had someone protecting it. And yeah, so that was kind of you just pull the sticker off and no one can buy it because you have the sticker in your hand. You go check it out and pay for it.
All right, next year I'm just removing stickers. I'm just pulling stickers and just laughing like a madman through the consignment area. That was really great. I think, the consignment area was really busy, right? It was always busy. There was a big line. There was a young man that had to be the line captain, and I felt for him so bad because, we all just want to get in there. We're happy. We're excited. And they could only get so many people in before they hit like the fire marshal rule. You know what I mean? They had too many people in the consignment area. So it was kind of like a club that the line captain was like, 2 people leave, 2 people come in, 2 people leave, 2 people come in. And then the line started becoming part of the fire marshal problem. So you couldn't even get in the line for a while until you had to stay outside the building and come in and try and get in the line and go back out the building. But Ryan, we made our way into the line based on you catch more bees with honey than you do vinegar.
Yeah, we ended up at the end of the line when he's just getting ready to like cut it off, and we're like, so, he was really nice. It was us he's just trying to do a job.
We were being understanding.
Remember it?
Yeah, we were being understanding that, dude, this sucks. Because some people were kind of like, Oh, yeah. And I don't think that's reflective of the entire event. It's just people, right? That is just a people moment that, you have a lot going on and someone tells you got to leave. It's So we were being a little empathetic. And then he just said, hey, why don't you guys come over here on the other side of the line?
We got there. It was great. That worked out. That was on Sunday, for sure. When we were going back for the second pass on Sunday, because the first pass was, I think we got in line slightly later than we targeted. We were shooting for 8. We got there between 8, a little before 8:30, I think.
Yeah.
I had heard a rumor of a really nice Amiga, as being an Amiga guy, was in there, and found it.
Yes.
That there was an Amiga 4000 tower.
And it's beautiful.
It's great. It's phenomenal. It's
the little doors on it.
Little doors on it. It's got the little feet.
That's like in the Commodore monitor with the drop-down door. You're just like, ooh, how did this make it so many years?
Exactly. It's powered up, or it's not on right now, but it's sitting here by my desk. It's great. I love it. So in the middle of it, I was looking at it. It was a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, but it is something I always wanted. And I got to meet Chris Edwards. He's a YouTube guy. He's got a great channel. He does a lot of repairs of Amigas, and I've learned a lot. It's helped me through my Amiga stuff. He's already fixed the thing, so that's great. So I get to go watch his videos.
I have his signature.
Yeah, you do. He's a really friendly guy. He actually helped me get it after I bought it. Helped me get it from the consignment area into my car.
Oh, and
it was great. You could just tell it was like, ooh, another one's going to a good home. He was just super happy about it, and he was a great person. Great shout out for really liked meeting him. So that was amazing. So what'd you get from the consignment, Eric?
I broke down. I started this story off, listener, with emulating, right? I got the C64 Max, and I like emulating. I like emulating a lot. But man, the bug got me. After seeing everything, the bug got me. And there was this beautiful in-box Commodore Plus 4 power, the little connector, the itself, the manual looked very clean. So I took a chance, and I spent a way lot less money than Ryan. And I got a Commodore Plus 4, and I have I've tested the power supply. It's actually holding the 5 volts properly. I am going to get a replacement PSU at some point, but the one I have is not in the danger zone. And I have looked interior wise, everything looks beautiful, no super hot chips. Obviously, I turned it on, and it does power up, and it works. And I have done more things, but we can get into more Commodore Plus 4 love. What have you done for the 4000T since you picked it up?
Oh, my 4000T came in great shape, but a couple things I pulled out of it was it still had the spinning disk. It worked. Obviously, I've archived that data and went to another device called a Zulu SCSI. So it's a little SCSI board. It takes a SD card, pop it in there. Great. I'm getting about 6.5 megabytes a second on the transfer rate.
Oh, dear listener, we had a technical difficulty, like all things in life. So we missed the end of Ryan's story, but he's been doing some good things with his Amiga. We will be talking more about the Amiga and Commodores in further episodes. You did also miss a great goodbye from both of us, thanking you for listening this long. So hopefully we'll see you in the future. Bye now.